After doing well over 100 cruises, I thought I knew everything about life on a cruise ship. That was until a dinner hosted by a senior crew member on my last cruise, where they revealed a surprising secret about cruise ship crew that I was totally unaware of. It got me wondering what else I and other passengers like you have no idea about cruise ship crew. Welcome aboard, I'm Gary Bembridge, and after much research and talking to crew off the record, I've found a bunch of secrets that are kept well hidden from us passengers. I think you'll find them surprising, and a couple even shocking. So what was the revelation that triggered all of this? It was the crew members doing the same job at the same level were not paid the same. They were paid based on where they come from. So a crew member from the USA is paid a different rate to those, say, from the Philippines doing exactly the same role. So I probed into other crew employment issues, which revealed a couple more surprises. First, I found that despite most cruisers assuming everyone on a ship works for the cruise line, many do not. Many crew instead are employed by and work for third-party companies that the line uses to run several facilities, including the spa and fitness center, shops, art auctions, the photo center, and even the medical center on some cruise ships. This is really important to know because the cruise line usually states in their contract that they are not responsible for the actions of those third-party employees, and most of them earn low salaries and their earnings are very reliant on commission. Hence, while all that hard sell we get for shopping, spa, art and photography. But what I had also not known is that even the crew employed by the cruise line are not recruited directly by the line. They're recruited through third-party agencies based in different countries who are then contracted by the line to find and screen crew members from that specific country for them. For example, Princess Cruises and P&O Cruises list the ones that they specifically work with on their careers page, and they direct anybody interested in working for them to those agencies in the countries. However, other lines like Norwegian Cruise Line lets people apply for the jobs on their career site, but they then say that their local country hiring partners, and I quote, are responsible for screening and processing candidates in specific regions for potential employment on board our ship. I also discovered, though, that people wanting to work on ships are heavily targeted by scammers because of this process, and many potential crew members lose money to them. Because of this process, scammers are rife here. Scammers target potential crew with fake ads, fake profiles of senior crew like that of my friend who's a Celebrity Cruises hotel director, and those fake posts claim he's looking for crew for the ships. They then do emails offering jobs. They then send fictitious job offer letters, employment contracts, and they ask for sign-on fees, uniform deposits, advance payments for travel to the ship, which they all claim will be refunded once they're on board. Now, my tip, if you're looking to work on a ship, is that all cruise line websites have a link at the bottom of their page for their jobs or careers, and you must always use that way in to avoid scammers. Next, I think while many cruisers know that not all crew members have the same length contracts, I discovered a few things that I think will surprise many too. While senior crew like captains, hotel directors, cruise directors and so on have contracts of 3 to 4 months on board, most crew, including deckhands, chefs, waiters, cabin stewards and so on, have contracts of 6 to 9 months. However, everyone, no matter the contract length, works 7 days a week in shifts between 10 and 12 hours per day and with no days off. I discovered there are 3 reasons given for this. First, obviously to keep costs down by not having to employ additional crew to cover when others are on their time off on the ship. Secondly, there's no space in cabins to accommodate more crew above the number needed on this particular pattern of working. And thirdly, crew members are recruited for a very specific task and don't have the skills or trained to cover other roles when people are having time off. I then found that while crew get up to 2 months off between contracts, this is not as good as it seems. When crew finish a contract, they're effectively unemployed until they return, and they're not paid during this time nor have any perks. In most cases, crew do know that they're getting another contract when they leave a ship and roughly when it's going to happen and which ship, but it is not set in stone until a contract gets issued. I also found out that if a crew member wants to end their contract early, they need to cover all their expenses to get home. This is unless there's due to a couple of reasons. One, they're given compassionate leave, perhaps a family member death, they need to be medically disembarked, or the company actually requires them to leave due to something like perhaps an unscheduled dry dock. One thing I also discovered talking to crew is that many lines know that ship life is not for everyone. So on most lines, during a crew member's first contract, there's a 90 days probation. Now, if their manager decides they're not suitable for the line, they will send the crew member home, of course, at the line's expense. Of course, if the crew line decides a member must leave due to disciplinary reasons, they usually will not cover the cost to get home. Now, I had no idea about the next rule and had never come across it on any of my cruises, but every crew member I spoke to raised this issue. I had heard about how inexpensive drinks were in the crew bar, and of course the reputation that crew have for partying hard, but it's way more complicated and for a very good reason. Every crew member told me that they are subject to random drug and alcohol breathalyzer tests. The reason being that every crew member has to be ready, capable to perform in the case of a ship emergency. Now, check the policy of many cruise lines, and all stated very clearly that crew members are never allowed to be intoxicated at any time, or of course not take any drugs. This is an example of the policy listed on Norwegian Cruise Line website about cruise life and rules on board. It says, and I quote, "You are not permitted to become inebriated or intoxicated while on your assignment contract. You are not allowed to drink alcohol while on duty. Violation of either of these rules is grounds for dismissal. We have a zero tolerance drug policy with random testing. Drug possession, transportation, and usage are causes for immediate termination." Most lines also have a rule saying that crew members involved in the watch, keeping, and the bridge cannot consume any alcohol 4 hours before a shift. Cruise crew online creators I follow have confirmed how random drug and drink testing works. So Jay of the Ship Life YouTube channel says that crew, no matter rank or number of contracts, have a drug test when joining the ship, and then random testing happens roughly once a month for both drug and alcohol. If you fail, you get fired. Lucy of Cruising with Crew, speaking on the Sail Away Magazine Uncensored podcast recently, said the main reason that crew got fired in her time working on the ships is due to failing drink breathalyzer testing. One thing I also discovered was what crew do and do not pay for. I was a little bit surprised. I found that before joining the ship, crew must pay for, of course, getting a passport, along with any visas or vaccinations required, and they have to pay for a medical examination to confirm that they're fit for service. And although they will be given a uniform at no charge, most lines actually require crew to buy their own non-slip safety shoes for use while on duty. I'll use a Norwegian example again. They say, and I quote, "Shoes are not provided. You should purchase the approved brand and style before joining or onboard the vessel." Once on board, crew then have to pay for Wi-Fi, with Virgin Voyages seeming to be the only line at the moment that gives crew free Wi-Fi. They have to pay for bottled water, which is sold pretty inexpensively, though of course the move to refillable bottles that should resolve that problem. And then of course they pay for personal items, toiletries, cigarettes, chocolates, which they can buy from a cruise shop or in the port. Crew do not have to pay to get to and from the ship for almost all lines. Of course, they don't pay for their cabin, which they get weekly change of towels and linen for. Food in the crew mess, which has many regional dishes to cater for the nationality mix. They don't have to pay for use of the laundry for personal clothes. The uniform and the laundry of that they don't pay for. And importantly, they don't pay for medical. Crew typically don't have to pay for medical bills related to illnesses or injuries on board. The cruise line usually covers medical costs, including prescription medicine. However, there are exceptions, such as for pre-existing conditions. Also, if crew are disembarked for medical reasons, the line covers the cost of that treatment. But there are more secrets to life on board that I discovered in this whole process. The crew lives in a hidden ship within a ship, and many of them never leave it during that 6 to 9 months because very few crew members have passenger deck privileges or can use guest facilities. Typically, only senior crew, the entertainment team, and some of the staff from concessions like the spa or shops can use some of the passenger facilities, like for example the buffet restaurant for lunch or dinner. Most of the crew uses what is called the I-95. This is an interior corridor low down the ship. It runs the full length of the ship, and they use that to move around without entering passenger areas. They then can use internal staircases off this to get up to the deck or the area that they work in. In this hidden crew ship within a ship are all the crew areas, which include crew cabins, the crew mess, the crew bar, a gym, and recreation areas. There's also an outside area for crew to use, which on some ships is on the bow, but most are on the highest deck above the passenger sun deck. If you ever look up on the highest passenger deck upwards, you'll normally see an area with crew on. Now, according to the website workingonships.com, at least 85% of crew share cabins ranging from 2 people to 4 people in each, and they're in bunk beds. Virgin Voyages has led the way though to have crew having their own rooms, and the new mega ships have way more single rooms than ever, so much less sharing. In most cases, only senior crew get their own rooms, with the captain of course having the best. In some cases, like on Celebrity Edge class ships, these are large and glitzy ones too. Crew do not seem to get a lot of say in who their cabin mates are, though married and partnered crew can usually share a cabin. I found a whole raft of other secrets about cruise lines as I worked on this that were not just about the crew. So join me over in this video where I share those cruise line secrets. See you over there.